That bike is so loud. Wheel spinning, that jack ain't happy. There's nothing coming out of there. Level's good, but that smells a little bit burnt. I think what I should do now is change the oil in this thing. And before I change the oil, I'm gonna have to take it out for a quick little ride. That way everything's nice and warm, I can move it through the system. So let's pop this door open. I've got the door opening here. I'll fire the bike up here shortly, and I guess I'll be taking out for a little warm-up ride. What in the fuck? First off, I need to get the cover off this sled. It is covered in wet snow. Pretty crazy for May 15th. The grass is actually green beneath the snow. And I rode my bicycle to work multiple days last week. Not because I like riding bicycles, but because gas is $1.82 a liter. And before anybody else gets in the comments and they say, oh, well, gas is more expensive where I live. Guess what? Just because it's more expensive where you live doesn't mean that it's not expensive. It's overpriced. If I get this first pull, I'm getting Taco Bell tonight. Oh, I guess no Taco Bell tonight. I should probably put this thing away before I do more damage to my lawn. 24 hours later, snow's finally subsided. It's not necessarily gone, but it's melting and the road's dry. I'm gonna hop on this thing, take it out for a quick rip, warm up the oil, warm up the transmission, then I'm gonna get on the hoist here, start draining stuff. So this is pretty much gonna be the only fun part, taking it out for a quick little ride. My test ride's out of the way, now I just gotta get a bike up on the hoist. Bike's nice and warm now. All I gotta do is get my nasty clothes on, get rid of my vest here. That bike is so loud, but man is it ever fun. We are back, and I got a little bit of help now. I got a supervisor. For anybody that's new to the channel, this is my dog Honey. And she's quite vocal. She just wants to be around to supervise, so I got her a little bed set up here out in the garage, and she's gonna hang out with me. Now it's time to get this thing up. What a unit. Yeah, they got the oil drain on these Sportsters in kind of a weird spot. It's just a tube that goes to the oil tank itself, and it's just clipped to the back of the frame with one of these. So what you do is you get your drain tube out, probably move that out of the way. You want to have that pointed down. So this is the oil drain line, and that normally just clips up here. A hose clamp is pretty much the only thing standing between that plug coming out of that hose and it staying in. Hopefully this wants to cooperate. Ooh. All right, I think that's going to cooperate for me. Another thing that I'm going to do that's going to help my case here, I'm going to pop the dipstick on the other side. I don't have like a piece of foam in here that'll prevent splashing, but I also want you guys to be able to see it draining. Yeah, that looks pretty gross. There's your hose drain plug on a Sportster. This oil is thick. I think it's like 2050 or something. I've got the bottle right behind me. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be using, just AMSOIL 20W50. I actually went and I bought a Harley Davidson branded filter, and unfortunately they didn't have any black ones, so I got to run a chromie on this. I'm not really overly hot on running another piece of chrome on this bike, but I mean, like, there's enough chrome on here that it's not going to look out of place. All shiny and whatnot. I guess I could drain the primary. And yeah, I'll do that before I pull off the oil filter. Now I'm going to pull the plug off the primary. I can't wait for it to all come out and burn my hand. That's how we roll around here. Like to hurt ourselves. Just like a few little small shavings on there. Nothing too bad. I got some new O-rings kicking around here too, so may as well replace that. Pretty much just like a metal paste what's on the drain plug there. What you don't want is big chips and chunks. And I get to play the game. Where are my O-rings? I'm pretty sure they're just hung up over there. I'm pretty good at losing stuff though. So I've got my primary drained here. Now, the next thing that I'm gonna need to do is pull off the oil filter. What I'm not looking forward to about that is it's mounted in such a way that when you spin it off, if you don't have like 6,000 rags or something there, it just spills all over everything. There's wiring there, there's a little cooler there, all kinds of lines, there's an engine mount. It's just so dumb the way that that's mounted, but I mean, I guess there's no better spot for it. It is what it is. I do have a tool for it. It's just, I don't know, it's more hassle than it's worth to actually use. I'm sure somebody in the comments is going to tell me that that they use it and they don't have any problems, but I'm not you, I guess. I know that I bought actual O-rings for this. I'm gonna have a look for them in my toolbox. Found my bag of O-rings, and now I can peel this one off of here. As you can see, last time I torqued it, I chewed it up a little bit. I usually put a little bit of thread sealant on these drain plugs before I install them anyway. Can't remember if the service manual calls for thread sealant or not, but I usually run a little bit. Not a whole lot, just enough that like when you torque it in, it just spreads itself inside like a couple threads, and then you're good to go. I found my oil filter wrench too, so this is the Amazon version of the Harley Davidson tool. So you get like a $100 part for, I think I paid like 15 bucks for that. And it came with that stupid funnel that I was telling you about earlier. One thing that I really don't like about this bike that initially I thought it was a bonus was forward controls. The more that I ride this thing, the more I find myself really wishing that this thing had mids. I just feel like I'm out of tune with what the bike's doing when I'm riding with forward controls. That, and I feel really stupid with my legs stuck out so far, but like anything else, these work, and it's not necessarily a must for me at the moment to replace them. It is what it is. Shove a few paper towels in here for the inevitable mess. Yeah, the engine is done draining. So is the primary. This is the thread sealant that I like to use on these drain bolts. I'm going to put on my O-ring first. That way I'm not fighting against myself while I'm trying to feed that over top of everything and smear that sealant all over the place. Slip her over top, roll it down. It sits right in the little channel there. There we go, that's in focus. Yeah, that's where that O-ring sits. Let's take a little bit of this. I don't need a whole lot of that, just a little bit. The primary chain case drain plug is 14 to 30 foot-pounds. That is a huge range. I'll probably set it to like 20. Maybe I'll do it like 18. No, I'll do it at 20. 20 is a nice mid-range. My torque wrench that I usually use, or I guess my torque wrench that's in foot-pounds, the lowest torque is 20 foot-pounds, which is what I want to set that to. And it's kind of a cheap one, so I don't necessarily want to do a torque at the lowest value because I feel like it might not be as accurate at that point. Anyway, so I'm just going to use my torque wrench that's in inch-pounds. And if you don't know the conversion from inch-pounds to foot-pounds, if you want to turn foot-pounds into inch-pounds, you take your foot-pounds, you multiply it by 12. And if you got inch-pounds you want to turn into foot-pounds, you divide by 12. There's a quick little bit of knowledge for you. All right, get my 5/8 socket. Go on, make sure the torque wrench go in the right direction. Oh, first mosquito of the season. Can't wait to kill you later. There we go. And a second click. All right, now I just got to jam that drain plug back into the oil drain tube. Yeah, a few videos ago I was talking about cleaning my garage. Obviously I didn't do that. I probably should have. I'd be a little bit happier with myself at the moment. Wipe that tube off. It's be a little bit easier because I can hold that up so nothing's draining back down on my hand while I'm trying to shove this in there. Boom. Get my calibrated hose clamp back on there. Butthead screwdriver. I think just for kicks I'm going to check the service manual here and see what the torque is supposed to be for this hose clamp. I can't really see it being anything meaningful. Oil drain hose worm clamp, 6 to 10 inch-pounds. That is an extremely low amount of torque. Basically just make it tight. Take that, feed her back up, this little clip. There, that sounds like positive engagement. Now I can get this stupid oil filter off. Well, I guess it's not stupid, it's an inanimate object. I'm just frustrated with the positioning. This is exciting stuff. Oh man, that's awesome. It's already spinning. Yeah, sometimes when you go to use this tool, if the oil filter's on there too tight, then it can get a little dicey. What some guys actually do, from what I've read on Reddit, like I frequent Reddit quite a bit, is some guys, they'll actually put like a self-tapping screw, like they'll drill a hole in the tool itself, have a self-tapping thread go on one of the flat spots, and actually thread it into the oil filter. That way you've got like that extra bit of mechanical engagement. Man, trying to get a stuck oil filter off sometimes is just one of the most frustrating things that you can encounter in the garage. There it goes, making a mess already. There you go. There's the oil filter removed. So the paper towels are set up in such a way that there's a little bit of a pathway for the oil to flow. I'm not sure if I saved myself entirely from making a gigantic mess down there. Probably not, but we'll see. My supervisor fell asleep. I guess supervising me is a tiring job. Now I get to pull out the solvent and blast all that off. I just love that. I'm gonna end up waking up the supervisor here when I go grab my solvent out of the cabinet. Oh, hi. Hi, puppy dog. You having a little nap? What a nice girl. Yeah, that supervisor's pretty tired down there. What a mess. As far as pulling these oil filters off too, like, this is probably like a pretty easy one. And again, there's probably an expert in the comments that's going to tell me how I messed this up, or I forgot to show something and I'm an idiot, all that stuff. I think I am going to pre-lubricate this chrome oil filter. I'm not going to fill it up a whole lot because I don't want it to spill out. What I will do is pour in just enough that the element in it isn't completely dry. You can see this going horribly wrong. Okay, that's enough. Take this, just wet the seal, and that is ready to install. This stupid chrome oil filter. That should be tight enough. Maybe I'll give her a little shot with this thing. Not a whole lot, maybe just like a bit of a turn. Somewhere between 5 and 7 years ago, I slipped and fell, and my dominant hand folded into my forearm like that, so my grip strength isn't necessarily what it should be, and definitely not what it used to be. So I kind of have to adapt a little bit here and there, but if your hands are good and you've got good grip strength, do not do what I just did there. If I needed to, this would be where I'd make a clutch adjustment, but I don't need to, so I'm not going to. But in order to fill up the primary, you need to remove the cover. And there's a special, well, I shouldn't say special, like funnel that you need to do that. So to get these off, it's a T27. Pop this off now. Don't take what I'm doing here as a how-to. Just, this is pretty much for entertainment. Just watching a regular dude turn wrenches and figure some stuff out. I'm not a professional, and either are most people. But I'm just doing this because I like making videos, and I like turning wrenches. I like working on my own stuff. And this way I can satisfy two hobbies at the same time. Now, the service manual and the dealership and all of the do it properly guys out there, they'll tell you that you're going to need a new gasket for the primary cover. I'm not doing that. Okay. There we go. Yes, there's the clutch adjustment right there. Well, that's how you make the clutch adjustment in there. I didn't buy that to put on there. That was the previous owner. That wouldn't have been my choice. And the bike didn't come with the factory one, so I'm SOL because I'm not buying a new one. Yeah, so if I wanted to adjust the clutch, this would be the time to do it. My clutch actually feels really good, so I'm not going to bother touching that. Top up the primary here. And the service level for it is pretty much just fill it up until it is about to start pouring out. In my video last year where I did this, I checked the primary chain torque, or tension, sorry. It's probably fine. It's only been about 2,000 kilometers since I did it, but while I'm here, I may as well check it. Just popping out the primary inspection cover screws here. My SD card is giving me a warning that it's about to run out of space, but that's basically what that is. It's a T25 is what fit there. When I'm doing something like this and I'm not sure if I'm going to strip it out, what I like to do is take a marker. I'll mark the fastener head on one spot and then the base material on another. That way, when I'm turning it, I can actually see if I'm stripping the fastener or if I'm moving it. And the line is moving with the fastener. So that is what I'm looking for. And I don't even know if I'm gonna have to make the adjustment here. I doubt it, but I figured I'd look anyway. So there's the primary inspection cover. There's like a little gasket there that needs to come off. Yeah, that chain's got the right amount of deflection. I'm doing a lot of hand talking today. This bad girl back on here. I'm trying to be quick here because I'm watching my camera telling me how much space it doesn't have left. Before I run off to clear off my SD card, I'm gonna torque these. They're 90 to 100 inch-pounds, so or 90 to 120, but I am going to torque them to the lowest amount. See you guys in a minute. Just did a quick cleanup of my work area here. It kind of drives me nuts if I gotta work in chaos. I don't like tripping over tools and old junk and stuff, so yeah, I had to do a quick little reset there after I finished up clearing off that SD card. I had two. I actually had a larger one, but for some reason it corrupted and now it won't format. And every time that I went to go record on it, it would just show up on the camera, SD card error. Anyway, for now, I just have the one SD card while I'm working out here. I'll buy another one eventually. I'm just running on I don't want to say running on a tight budget. I just can't put all of the money that I have into this. Yeah. So this right here, this is the, I'm gonna drop that on the floor. This is the little funnel tool that you use for doing the primary on these. Basically, this thing just kind of sits in there and lets you pour oil in. I guess there's really no better way to explain that. Maybe not. Maybe I never used it on this one. Dog just started barking. What are you barking at? Change of plans, I guess this is for a different model engine. I could have swore I used it on the Sportster last year, but I can't even remember what I had for supper last night, let alone the exact details of how I changed oil on a motorcycle last year. I guess what I'll do is I'll just use my trusty funnel that I got here and I'll pour it in carefully. If you're anything like me, these funnels don't get put away necessarily in the most cleanly manner, and sometimes you'll get like dust and crap that'll kind of settle on whatever residual oil you have inside of them, and yeah, you don't really want to pour that inside your nice shiny transmission or engine. And this is what the book calls for. Calls for engine oil in the primary. I've kind of deviated from that in the touring bikes with the Sportster, where everything's, well, not everything, where more things are interconnected. I just do what the book says and change the oil before it needs to be done. I think it's only supposed to take like maybe about a quart. I'm gonna do a quick Google here. I feel like that might be too much. What I just read is it takes exactly a quart. I was wrong before in what I said where you keep pouring it in until it pours out. All it needs to do is cover the teeth on the bottom of the gear that you see right there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little red screw jack, put it under the frame, make sure the bike is actually straight and level. I kind of eyeballed it earlier, but that wasn't necessarily the right thing to do. And I've got the tools here to do it the right way, so I'll do it the right way. I have a little bit less than 1 quart out of my jug here, and the manual actually calls for slightly less than a quart for the primary itself. I'm in the woods. I'm just going to make sure I'm level, and then I'll top it back up to what the manual says. Still using this crappy jack. There. I don't need to pour in a bunch. Put that in there. Okay. That's a full quart in there now. According to the manual, that's the correct amount. What I'll do is I'll take my phone, because I don't have a flashlight next to me. I'll turn the flashlight on. I'll make sure that the lower part of that gear is getting oil. And it makes sense that that would be the level. Just a quick side note about what I was just talking about the primary oil level. Here it is in the book. So this dotted line right here, that is where you want your fluid line. And coincidentally, that is where my fluid line is on that bike. Just need that to stay on long enough. This cover put on there. I'll find out pretty quick if that didn't seal. It'll start dripping if it's gonna leak. I'm sure blue Loctite isn't the correct heat rated Loctite for this application, but it's what I have, and some Loctite is better than none. Can't believe 2 days ago it was snowing. As you saw earlier in the video, I had my snowmobile out. Now, was there enough snow to actually go for a snowmobile ride? Probably not. Did I do it just to say that I did? You bet I did. The torque for these is 90 to 120 inch-pounds. I think I'll do this one at 100 inch-pounds. Now it's on to the other side and top the engine oil up. Before I head over to the other side, I'm gonna set myself up for success here. This is the container. It's got all the markings on there for how much oil's in there. The book calls for 2 quarts of oil to get poured into the tank, and then you run the engine, wait for the oil pressure light to come off. If it doesn't come off, shut her down. Back to the procedure, you pour in your 2 quarts, you run the engine, get it up to temp, and then you adjust your level. I am gonna get my proper amount in here, and then I'll run her, and I'll go from there. This stuff even looks like molasses too. Let's head over to the other side. Pull out the old dipstick here. Just gonna set that down on the hoist while I pour in this nice new oil, and in she goes. There you go. Pop out the dipstick and verify my level. Look at that, right between the lines. I'm gonna have to banish my supervisor to the house because somebody's got sensitive ears, and this idiot put Vance & Hines short shots on his Sportster. They're not quiet. Okay, honey girl, you gotta go inside. Let's go. Go on in. I know, I'm sorry. Poor dog. I am definitely going to have to pop open my garage door. Otherwise, I will get carbon monoxide poisoning. So, I'm gonna go through a quick checklist in my own mind here. The drain plug for the primary is in, torque. There's an O-ring on it. It's got sealant on it. I put my derby cover back on. I torqued the screws. As far as I know, the seal's in the right spot. I put the inspection cover back on for the primary chain. That's torqued. I took my oil drain hose. I have the plug put into the hose itself. It's clipped back up in where it's supposed to go. Primary has been serviced. It has 1 quart of oil in it, and those teeth are submerged. And I just put 2 quarts of oil, as the manual calls for, in the engine oil tank. I really hope I didn't forget anything. Pop the door open, crank this thing on. All right, oil filter light is off. While that thing's running, I'll load up my FP4 here. I know for sure that I can get my engine temperature. So I want to get that up to about, I think it's 150 degrees. Now once this thing gets up to temperature, the RPM will drop to about 1,000, and then I'll check the level again. I'm fighting the urge to crank the throttle on that. What I will do is a leak check though, and that tuner makes this thing run rich. Take you along for a quick leak check here. Right here, this is the back of the oil filter housing. There's a little bit of residual oil right there, but that's just from taking it off. There's nothing actively dripping. Go back around to this side. Now I'm not going to notice anything out of the primary cover until the wheel is spinning. There's nothing coming out of the drain plug, so that's a win. Nothing coming out of that. Wheel spinning, that jack ain't happy. There's nothing coming out of there. I'm going to get that thing back in neutral and off that jack as fast as possible. Okay, we're at 1,000 RPM. Shut her off, my neighbors will be happy about that. Now I'm gonna check my oil level. So the oil level on that dipstick, it's kind of on the lower end. Now I'm gonna verify in the manual if you're supposed to check the oil level on the Jiffy stand or if it's supposed to be upright, but I suspect it's supposed to be on the Jiffy stand. And if it's supposed to be on the Jiffy stand, then that makes sense why it'll be reading low like that. Time to get this thing off the hoist. So aside from just doing the fluids on this thing, I did check my exhaust flange nut torque. Last year I had one of them come loose and then the bike ran like garbage. It just seemed like a good time to do it, so that's what I did. So I'm just gonna sum up a couple things here. As I was just editing this video, I realized that there was a couple things that I forgot. I didn't go over how to actually check the oil. I left it off mid-video saying that I thought that it was supposed to be on the Jiffy stand. Anyway, I had a look through my service manual and I couldn't really find anything concrete. I'm sure it's in there. However, I did do a little bit of searching, Google and ChatGPT, and then on Reddit. Pretty much the general consensus is that yes, you check it on the Jiffy stand. When the motorcycle's upright and hot, the dipstick is reading about halfway up. And then when it's leaned over on its Jiffy stand like that, then it's at the full mark. So I'm happy with that. I didn't want to leave anybody hanging there with incorrect information. Don't take what I have to say as exactly how it's supposed to be done. I'm not a professional. Next week's video is going to be a little mix of some stuff. I'm taking this thing out for a quick little ride across town and taking care of some other equipment in the shop here. So I hope you guys join me for that. If not, well, I'll see you next time you come out. Anyway, I appreciate all the support and the views and the comments on all of my recent videos, and I appreciate you guys for watching this whole video if you did, or even just clicking through it. See you next week, and take care.